How do you like to be apologized to?
How do I like to be how I like to be apologized to? I guess face to face. Um yeah, face to face. And it has to be sincere.
Hmm.
You know, it has to be where the person recognizes that they did something to hurt me, whatever that may be. They have to recognize that, I messed up and I apologize. Not apologize because they think it's going to make me feel better. So even if
Yeah.
it's like, how some people, like, they know they don't believe that they're wrong, but I'm going to apologize anyway.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thing. I That's not an apology for me. Um, but if you do say, look, I don't believe that I was wrong in what I did, and I didn't mean to do that, and that I apologize. Whatever my reaction is, or whatever the case may be. That's sufficient for me. But if the person actually knows what they did was wrong, they need to fess up to that, own it, and apologize.
I think that's
But yeah,
fair. A face-to-face
I think.
apology is fair. Does it
Mhm.
is it once people apologize, do you take a beat to kind of work through it, or you're like, I can accept your apology, but I need a minute?
Okay, so now it depends on what it is. If it's something that really, like, made me angry, like
Hmm.
when I feel that anger, then I have to pull back for a little bit.
Okay.
And it's usually for me, it's not that long, because I'm one of those that I let it roll off my back. I don't hold on to offense for too long, because I don't like the way holding on to offenses makes me feel. I hate
Yeah.
it. Because I'm,
Yeah.
like, angry, and I have all these thoughts going. So I like to release it, like, as quickly as possible. Um, but there are times where I have to say, okay, you know what, let me pull back, because this really, really hurt me. And so I need
Mm.
to, sit back and just say, okay, I'll accept the apology. That's an automatic, but it's the emotions and the feelings that I'm experiencing that I have to get under control.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
can agree with
sense?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does take time.
Mhm.
Well, welcome
Yeah.
everyone to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. I'm your host Leah. I am here this week with D Nice. Hey Denise, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. It's going well. Thank you for asking. How's it going with you?
Things are looking up. This is our second episode back, and I am getting back into the groove of things. So I'm doing good. I'm doing really good.
Good.
And a couple of times ago, I forget how long it was in actual time. We talked about you developing a book, you connecting with other women about their purpose. And it really got me thinking about how do we help ourselves find what our purpose is in life? Like, does everyone have a purpose? Do I just take a bunch of side quests, or is there a main mission, in my life? And as you work with these young ladies, and as I hear your stories about how you're helping these women, I thought it'd be a good time for us to have a conversation as early as we are in 2024 to start figuring out, what are we accomplishing this year? What are we accomplishing in our lives? So we're just going to talk a bit about today. We're going to talk a bit today about developing a plan for your purpose and,
Mhm.
identifying what your mission is in life so that, you're not feeling like you're floating, but you're actually connected and hopefully with community that helps you move toward that purpose.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
Fine.
firstly, I would like for you to explain what purpose is.
Okay. So purpose is, um having it's more than a goal, but um having something to look towards, something that's in your heart, that, because I'm a Christian, so I'm going to say, because what God has put you on this planet to do.
Right.
He's given each and every person on this earth a purpose. There's something that he has designed before even the foundation of the world for each person to do. And so our responsibility is to seek that out, is to seek him to give us that purpose. I've come to learn and find out that when we don't have a purpose, we are we jump into stuff that we don't need to be jumping into.
I can agree.
We're totally walking around like, I don't know what life is about. I don't understand where I'm going or what I'm doing. Should I be over here? Should I be over there? Should I be doing this? And when you have your purpose, it hones in on, okay, this is the steps I need to take to get to that. This is what brings me joy. This is what brings me passion. And so now I can hone in and now I know what to focus. So I know not to be over here and over there and then not doing this and then figuring I got you people experience like I have so much on my plate. You know that saying, I have so much
Yes.
on my plate. Well, it's
Yes.
because we have so much on our plate. It's because we don't have a purpose. We're all over the place. So
Hmm.
we take on things that we're not created to do. We're not assigned to do because we don't have a purpose. So it's that thing that we are called to do in our lives. Now, I believe purposes can change. It's fluid.
Hmm.
Um, so, my assignment for this year could be A, B, C, and D. My assignment, my purpose for this year. And then throughout the year, it may shift to something else. But I come to learn too that all your different purposes, I guess, or assignments or calling, all intertwines into the same thing.
Yeah.
So my purpose is to help women determine what their God-given purpose is so that they can live it out within the kingdom of God right now on the earth. And once we determine that, then I help them walk that out, live it out, to help them to stay focused. And that's the importance of consistency, goal setting, all that to keep your mind in a place of where focused. Because if you don't have that, you really have it's to me, you have no life because you're just floating. You have no, you're in a job that you hate. Why? Because you don't belong there. That's not your purpose. Well, I needed to make money. Yeah, okay. You can do that. I wasted hmm, 25 years, I think I could say 25 years or more in a job that I didn't want to be in because it was something else that I was called to do, even though I didn't even know what that was, but I know I was supposed to sit there.
Mm.
But
25
with
years. Whew.
20, yeah, yeah, or let me say 28, because that's when I finally retired from that job. God said, okay,
Oh, goodness.
good flow. You can go ahead and do what I called you to. Um, so a lot of people are in jobs and positions in places where they're not happy because they are not in line with their purpose and what they're called to do and what their passion is. Um, and so that's purpose for me. It's like your life. It's a guide to this is what I'm called to do here on the earth. And
I
once you
want
get that, you're fulfilled.
to,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I said once you determine that, you become fulfilled. You become happy, joyful, like, yes, I'm doing what I feel like deep down in my soul I'm supposed to be doing.
I do want to touch on the happiness part of it, the happiness part of the journey in just a moment. But
Mhm,
as you were talking, I'm thinking about, because right now I'm in school to get my degree, and it has been one of the toughest things that I have actually had to do because I had to commit to it. I had to be disciplined in it, and I had to do it consistently well, to finish. And so, it, as you were talking about purpose, when I was busy, I felt like I had to do 15 different things every single day to stay on top of everything. But when I
mhm,
sat down and sorted through the stuff, just the stuff of
mhm,
what I was doing from day to day, and I took out all the stuff that had nothing to do with work, nothing to do with school, and nothing to do with it was work, school, and whatever my outlet was at the time, right?
Mhm.
And so I think it was working out. If it had nothing to do with those three outside of church, then I was not going to commit to it. I was not going to do it. I found that I had way more time to rest, way more downtime, way more time for extra everything else when I focused on those things, and I felt at peace.
Yeah.
And I feel like that peace is something that people don't realize that they need, and so
Mhm.
they chase happiness. Oh, I'm not happy in this job right now, so maybe I should move on to something else. Or I need to feel happy, and because I don't feel happy, I'm really depressed. And I don't think we're supposed to be happy all the time. I mean, school does not make me super excited, but I'm at peace because I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing at this moment.
Mhm.
Like, this is the season for me to be in school and finish. And
Mhm.
so I feel like sometimes people chase that happiness, or they chase all the other things because their mom told them they're supposed to do something, their dad told them they're supposed to be something, their job told them they're supposed to be in this place, or other people are telling them what they should be. Oh, I could see you being this, or I could see you being that, but they're
Mhm.
not, looking to God to say, Lord, where should I be going?
Right.
What
Mhm.
direction am I supposed to be in? And even if things are hard, like right now, there's a lot of things that I'm going through at work, at school, that are hard, but these hard things are shaping and molding my character to
Mhm.
prepare me for whatever is coming in the next season.
Right. Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yep.
how can people determine, after seeking God, and they have their purpose, because we know the first thing, seek God, right? And they sought him out, they have their purpose. Now what?
Mhm. Okay, so once you determine what that is, whatever, so for me, I'll use me as an example. I recognize that what my purpose is, and it's really helping women moving from A to B, finding what that A is and moving forward in that. Um, it's not easy, right? But when
Mm,
I look at it and I determine, like in my heart, this is what I know, this is what I'm supposed to do, because it does make me joyful. It makes me happy, even in the times where too much work, because I got to go to school, right? I have to
right.
study. I have to, um, I have to get out there to meet people because I'm an introvert, right?
Hmm.
So I'm an extrovert when I have to be, and the majority of the time I don't want to be an extrovert, but I am, but I'm an introvert. So now I gotta get out of my comfort zone and go out and touch these people,
Right.
to in order to get clients, to be able to help people. So in those times, yeah, I feel like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't feel happy. I feel sad. I feel depressed. I don't feel joy in doing it. But once I remain focused on why I'm doing it, then it says, okay, I can do and I can handle these things, right? You
Right.
also can get like an accountability partner to help you walk through that and remind you, because sometimes when you're going through something, whenever you're going through something, it's like, deal with this. I
Yeah.
just don't want to do it. It's
Hmm.
just too hard. Sometimes you need somebody, because you mentioned community, you need somebody to push you, to help push you, like, you can do this. You can do this. Remember why you're doing it. Um, so the next step is, once you find that out, then you need to find out, okay, what steps do I need to take to walk in this? Do I have to go to school? Do I have to get a degree? Yeah, you're gonna have to do that. When you think about your purpose, how does it make you feel? Do you feel joyful? Do you feel happy when you even just sit and think about it? Just the purpose, not the steps you got to do to get there, but just
Right.
right. Because the steps is going to be like, oh, I don't want to, but you got to remember why you're doing it. What is that purpose, and how does that purpose make you feel? So
Right.
when you come up to those times where you have to go to school and get your degree, and you have to take this particular job, to even fund it, you can remember like, well, this is why I'm doing it. And just meditate on that. Take some time to meditate on that so that you can remain focused in what you need to do. And so like when you said that you um focusing on three different things, and anything that comes in that's not part of that, psh, that's something else you got to do.
That was
Uh,
hard.
it is hard.
I
It
want to go
really is.
bowling. I want to go out to eat with you all. I want to go do this, and it's like, but is your homework done? Are
Hmm.
your projects finished?
Finish.
What deadlines are coming up right now? Right?
Hmm.
And if you can't commit to yourself, if you understand what your purpose is, you've got
Hmm.
confirmation, God told you what it is, and you choose to not commit to that, like you said, God will let you float. You
Hmm.
have freedom of choice, right? We
Yep.
have free will. We can float and be doing whatever.
Hmm.
But when we walk in our purpose, it's important to stay committed. There's not going to be a time where we're able to do everything 100% well because we're
Hmm.
human. But
Right.
like you said, having community, like my sisters will call me, hey, did you get your paper done?
Hmm.
But they'll also be excited when I say, hey, I got my paper back, I got an A. That's right. Let's go out and
Yep.
get some. Now we can go out. Now we can
Treat
have some
yourself.
fun.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. I'm big on, I learned to be big on that. So it's like, okay, so if I finish this project right here, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
treat myself to boom, 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 whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Me, it was a set of earrings that I've wanted for so long. And I finished the project. It helped me stay focused,
Right.
and I was able to get it done. I said, now, and then I rejoice in that, and it makes me happy,
Yeah.
right? And it's not, and some people, it's not things that makes them happy. Maybe it could be whatever, spending time with family. Like, okay, if I finish this, I'm gonna call my girlfriend and we're gonna go have drinks,
Yep.
or whatever that may be, to reward yourself in
Right.
getting the job done. Because sometimes we get the job done and then, oh, let me pick up the next thing, oh, let me pick up the next thing, and then we start to burn out and realize, hey, no, we need to say it's okay, um that it's done. And when I think about standing before God one day, I want him to say, well done, good
Yeah.
and faithful servant. So if I'm doing my project and I get that project done, I know he's like, yes, let's
Right.
go
Good
to the
job.
next step.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Let's go to the next step. So yeah, I mean, I think community is one of the most important things, because we can't do our purpose is not for us anyway,
Right.
right? Whatever God calls us to do, is to do for others. It's not all about me. And I think also when we do things for others, it just things, I don't know, it just, and you see that person smile on their face, or they're operating in what they're supposed to be doing, or whatever it is. It could be, if God is calling you to be a graphic artist or something, graphics, helping people, their website. How does that make you feel when they say, "Oh, this is my friends love it." It's like that. Hey,
Right.
um, it brings that. It makes me happy to see others happy, right? So, and our purpose should be in line with doing for other people,
Yeah.
because as we do for the more we do for others, we automatically doing for ourselves as well. We're not, living on an island or anything like that. So yeah, I think community is important, consistency, of course, commitment, definitely. Are any of those easy? No.
Nah. We're
I
still
know for me,
human. We're still human.
and God has not called us, to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He calls us to be perfect in how he has created us, how he's created me. So there's things that I cannot do. There are things that I'm not capable of doing. And there's some things that I just don't want to do. But that's how I'm made up, right?
Right.
So I'm going to be perfect in what God has created me to be and what he's created me to do. And just live by his grace when I just don't do it.
That's I think that people should give themselves more grace
Mhm.
because there are things, and because I was for a long time I
Long
was like,
time I was
I
like,
don't know what
"You
my
don't know
purpose
what my
is.
purpose."
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing or where I'm supposed to be going or anything like that. But I knew like 5 years before I start asking those questions what I was supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Like God told me almost like over 10 years ago that I was supposed to finish school. And when I finish school, I'll be ready for the next thing. But I
Yeah.
did not want to finish school. And now you talk about 28 years. I'm like 10 years, like, ugh. I didn't waste 10 years. I've learned a lot, but
You do it
I
right. You
could have
do
been
learn a lot.
further should I have listened in the beginning.
Mhm.
But he's still giving me the grace to have the community to understand what I because I feel like God just like there's a margin of error he makes room for our silliness, our stupidity, our unwillingness to adhere to what he's saying,
Yep.
our whatever you want to call it, our stubbornness. There's a margin of error for it, right? He's not surprised that oh, it's you're not on time. You wasted all this time, and so I feel like God still gives us that grace to say, okay, I
Yes.
know you're going to need some time, but I'm telling you what it is now, so you
Mhm.
can't say that you didn't know. And
Mhm.
when you're ready, I'll still be here, but
Mhm.
don't wait too long. And
Mhm.
as I'm now going through it, I'm finding the community as each step that I take going through the process to get through to the purpose.
Mhm.
People are coming alongside of me in
Yes.
community. I'm having better commitment, and I'm willing to give myself part of the commitment is making sure that my tools are sharpened, and that may come through relaxation, that may come through
Come through
further
for the
understanding, further
education.
education. It
Mhm.
may come through connection with other people because iron sharpens iron, and maybe I need to be connected with people. It may come through challenges where God is
Yes.
like, "Oh, you don't know how to do this, so let me put this in front of you so you can figure out and get that strength up in that area."
Mhm.
And so it has definitely been a process, but I truly believe that when you do walk in purpose, you get the benefit of community. You
Mhm.
get the benefit of understanding the importance of discipline and commitment. You
Mhm.
you get the benefit of understanding and maintaining consistency. And consistency doesn't mean that you have to do something every single day. You just have to be consistent, even if you're doing it once a week, even if you're doing 3 times a week, once
Yep.
a month. Like you have to be consistent in what you're doing, showing up
Mhm.
for yourself. I think that was a big thing because I felt that I didn't respect myself enough to be committed. I knew I needed to do it, but I'll get to it. But once I started, like, no, I've earned this respect. Like, I need to show up for myself.
Mhm. Yep.
I need to show people how to treat me. I need to show people that I'm about my business so that when events do come up or people do come into my life that don't align with where I'm going, they're either going to pull me to the side or pull me back. And if I allow that to happen, I don't know how much longer I'll be off course.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes we do that, right? Like sometimes we just because we feel like there's something missing.
Hmm.
I'm on my road, I'm doing my thing, and then because sometimes you could start feeling lonely, like,
Hmm.
this is like I feel like I'm doing this all by myself, and then something comes up, and then you end up going over here, and then all of a sudden you're over here, over here, over here, over here, and then your purpose is over there, and then you're like,
Hmm.
what happened? Well, how did I get into this position? How did I get here?
Yeah.
And so that's why, yeah, it's in an importance of remembering what and why you were created for, and to focus on that and know that you're not missing. I'm trying to remember that saying that Dave Ramsey says, "Oh, live like no one else, live like no one else, live like no one else, so that you can live like no one else." So I was going, what the heck did that mean? He just double said the same thing. But what he was saying was like when you're budgeting, right?
Hmm.
While everybody's out there spending thousands and millions of dollars, you're here saving, scrimping and saving, like um You're saving your pennies, you're not going out, you're not doing this, and your friends are out there and they're doing all these things. And but as you're working on your budget and you're putting money aside and putting money aside, putting now you're free. Now you're able to live like no one else because now your friends are broke. Your friends are broke. They can't go nowhere, but you could be traveling and you could do all kinds of, all kinds of wonderful things because you were so focused on being debt free, focused on saving money, um, focused on making sure that you're financially stable versus out there doing what everybody else is doing. So it's like living like no one else because no one else is budgeting like you. No one else is saving like you.
Hmm.
And then eventually you'll be with those people who are, that have the money, like, and they're doing their vacations and all of that. And you're able to do the same, like, so that's what I think, like, about purpose. Like, you're working your purpose, working all the things you need to do so that you can go out there and do what God has called you to do. And that helps by being consistent, by doing all the hard things, not being perfect. And you're not going to be perfect in it, but striving to do that and just staying focused so that you can actually be all that God has called you to be and do, and be fulfilled. Because part of your purpose is being fulfilled,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, so I think about like all of that work I'm doing, all the work that I have to do to be able to experience that joy, that fulfillment, that happiness, is going to be worth it at the end because I'll be able to experience that.
You said earlier that we can have multiple purposes throughout our lifetime. There are multiple times where you fulfill a need for a season. You fulfill a need at a point in time, or you are working to fulfill a need over the course of your lifetime, right?
Mhm.
Have you been in a place where you have been able to fulfill a need in a season and that was
Yes.
your purpose? How did you
Mm.
feel when it was accomplished?
Oh, girl. Well, when I look back, one of the things that God has called me to do, and I think that everybody should do this because it helps determine your purpose, is to look back over your life and see if there's any themes there.
Mm,
Is there something that reoccurred over and over? Now, it may not be exactly the same, but it's a familiar, like, hey, I did that, I did that. So for me, it was working with teenagers.
okay.
So when I was like I said earlier, I was an introvert. Like, you know, I was happy growing up when I was in middle school and high school, go to school and come home and sit in the house all day, eat, stuff my face, watch TV.
No, that
That was
couldn't
my
be
life.
me. Oh
That was
no.
me. I was comfortable without knowing anybody. I was comfortable with just that. But no, my mom said, "Oh, heck no, we ain't doing this." So there's this place called Henry Street Settlement that was like right across the street from where I lived. And I'm going to say literally, but she dragged me over there and she goes, "Look, my daughter needs to do something because she's just not, she's just home." And so they had this program, called The Pioneers, which was similar to it was so much fun. It was similar to sorority, but it
Okay.
was co-ed for teenagers. So these gentlemen who went to college came back to the neighborhood. They were all Omega Sci-Fi, decided that they were going to take some of those things that they did in there and train the people in the lower income neighborhood. So
Oh,
we had to
okay.
wear so we had to wear a uniform. We had to march in place, like together in the streets. We did stepping. It was a lot of fun. I'll show you the picture one day. So after I went through the program, I was only 15. When I was 16, they asked me to be a co-leader to other teenagers.
Hmm.
What? I have to teach them? Well, I'm only like 2 years, a year older than them. Then the following year after that, I was graduating high school. It was my last year. I became a leader. So that was that. So I left. I went to college. Didn't do well in college. Got kicked out. Um, and I sometimes I wonder if my mother regrets it because that's where when I was at Henry Street, although I did all that stuff, that's where I learned to smoke, drink, hang out all hours of the
Mm,
night. But anyway, um, so after that, several years passed. I gave my life to Christ, and then I started working with teens again.
mm,
Why am I working with teens again? In the church. So it was just like this whole thing about, and it was like leadership. It was always leadership. Leadership, young people, leadership, young people. So I felt like, oh, okay, so my purpose is to pour into young people, which I love. That is my heart. And you know, Leah, that's
yeah.
my thing. So I came to Charlotte and I led a Bible study in my home for teenagers on
Hmm.
Friday nights in the neighborhood. I did that for several years. Then I went to Elevation. I did it again. Had a group of girls, and I went with them through middle school all the way till they graduated high school.
Oh,
And most of them are in college. Um, so now it's being shifted from teenage girls to women.
okay.
Um, so right now that's what my purpose is. So looking back on my life, I looked back on what was the pattern. The pattern was teenager and then pattern was leadership throughout my life. I didn't mention like my college, it was all leader. My jobs, the jobs that I had, they always called me to never went to go and ask for a promotion. Supervisor tapped me on the shoulder. Denise, would you be interested in being a supervisor? Would you be interested in what? So I noticed that it's leadership, and the leadership, it was always helping people go from one step to the next. Hence now I'm a coach. Because first I thought I was going to be a biblical counselor and went to school, and it was like getting my master's and getting licensed. It was just not for me. Being a counselor didn't move people to move forward. It
Mm,
was more dealing with their emotions and their psychological issues
yeah.
versus taking the person who's whole or even have some kind of limiting beliefs, because limiting beliefs can stop us from moving forward, right?
Right.
But at least when you get over those limiting beliefs, you can move forward, but
Right.
not more the psychological problem. I said that's not my calling. My calling, my purpose is to move somebody from A to B. So it did change from teenagers to adults, which I never wanted to do adults. So, but anyway, I had something else in mind. Um, so yeah, so although the theme is still the same, um, but different demographic now. It's
Yeah.
a different, so now I have to learn about the adult issues because I did a lot with I got my bachelor's degree in youth ministry and psychology. So now it's really focusing on adult women,
Hmm.
single adult women now. So that's one of the things that looking back on your life to determine that, and then there will be a time where that changed. So even like in my jobs, all those leadership positions in the corporate world, I guess then that's what my purpose was,
Hmm.
to be a leader. But that also changed, like, well, not into the corporate world anymore. Now it's more into entrepreneurship. So our purposes, yeah, can change. Um, and sometimes looking back over your life to determine, and also to determine, am I moving in the right direction? So, um, yeah. Did that answer your question?
It did. It did. And I think it gave people encouragement to know that as you are fulfilling your purpose, as you are living, in your life, you can look at what you've done empirically to say, okay, well, this is the golden thread through everything.
Mhm.
And these are times where I felt accomplished, where I felt
Right.
empowered, where I felt like I can take on the world, and where I can feel like, I've got this and things like that. Not operating, in your own power or strength, but what God is giving you in your gift to give the world.
Give world.
And I feel like, um, just that kind of reminder, it gives people the confidence to say, okay, I'm going to pursue this. Now, we have both said the process is work. It is work. It's not going to be laughs and giggles all the time,
Mm-mm.
but it is absolutely worth it when you hit that finish line, or when you, not even when you hit the finish line, but when you operating in that purpose, when you
Yeah.
are actually doing the thing. And even when you're doing the thing and it feels like work, you're still grateful for the space that you're in of actually doing the thing. I know
Mhm.
I can speak for myself and say that. And Denise, you've said it a couple different ways. And I think it's great that they can have these examples to say, okay, which direction am I choosing to go? Am I choosing to follow what God has told me? Or am I going to keep kind of doing my own thing until I'm ready to go? And so I
Mhm.
hope that you make the right choice. I hope that you continue to do things that's going to help you grow, help you move forward, help you keep seeking God, and help you have community where you can take up space, where you can honor yourself and honor the gifts that God has given you
Mhm.
by serving the people that you are connected to. Thank you so much for this conversation, Denise. It was very, very, very good. Do you
Well,
have
there's one more thing
anything?
I wanted to
Oh,
just
go ahead.
yeah, because you're about to ask me
Yeah,
about just
yeah,
one more thing I wanted to mention too. Once you know your purpose and you know it deep, 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 deep down that this is what you are called to do, be careful of the voices you listen to. Because there could be some people that say, well, are you sure? Or maybe not. And, I don't think you're gifted in that. No, you shouldn't be doing. Be careful on who the voices that you're listening to. Listen to that inner voice because it's the Holy Spirit directing you to say, this is what I'm calling you to. I don't
yeah,
care what anybody says, because the enemy would love for us to get sidetracked,
yes,
to move us over here when we should be here. So just be careful about, because we did talk about community. Be careful and watchful of the community that you're in. Make sure that community that you're in, or even if you do coaching, that person or those people are going to push you forward into your calling,
right.
and also be honest with you as well, and not sugarcoat stuff, but to be very honest with you, and that they're going to push and make sure that you are operating in what God calls you to. Another thing too, get to know what your spiritual gifts are, because your spiritual gifts are going to help you in your purpose. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Don't focus on the weaknesses, focus on your strengths. So it's because we focus on our weakness. If we When we focus on our weakness, we don't do anything. Oh, I can't
Absolutely
do it
true.
because I can't do it because uh no, focus on your strength. And if there's a weakness that God is calling you to turn into a strength, then do that. But your main focus is really, one, watch the community that you're in and know what your spiritual gifts are, know what your strengths are, knows what give you passion, what makes your heart, joyful, even what makes your heart sad. Like, what makes you really, really sad? Because once you determine what you're really sad about, then that means there's a need.
Hmm.
And maybe God is calling you to fulfill that need. So yeah, I just wanted to share a couple of those things. It
Well,
just
thank
hit
you
me.
very much. Do you have anything that you would like to plug, anywhere that people can follow you, any products or services that they can partake in?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on loveandactionkingdomcoach.com. That's my website. And on my website, it has all the information that you'll need. It has my Facebook, Twitter. What do else I have? Instagram accounts, my email address, my phone number, anything that you need. Also, it has the different packages that I offer in there. So you can see that you can reach out to me if you're not sure. I do free consultations half an hour consultations to know exactly if I'm the one for you. All right, because
Yes.
that's one thing you gotta make sure that the if you do coaching or even counseling, that matter, make sure that you click with the person. All
Yes.
right, so
Yes.
um, so you can find me on those.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much. I really appreciate
much.
you. Please make sure that you follow Denise, you check her out, follow her on all her social media. Please make sure that you also follow Take a Space Pod, Take a Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is now X, but I'm still going to call it Twitter.
I
And I
know.
hope that you all have a wonderful day. Please let us know in the comments any questions that you may have, because I feel like this
Mhm.
episode is going to need a part two. All right,
Well,
everyone, have a great
I'm there
one.
for it. Bye.
Bye.